Hello everyone, my name is Thi Thuy Ha from Vinh University. Today I'm very glad to introduce to all of you about language testing and assessment at secondary school in Nghe An province. My presentation includes three main parts. Part 1, theoretical background. Part 2, testing and assessment practice at secondary school in Nghe An province. Part 3, targeted solution. Part 1, I will talk about theoretical background, and in this part, I will deal with three main points. Firstly, importance of language knowledge testing and assessment. Secondly, formative and summative assessment on language knowledge. And lastly, criteria of a good test. 1.1, importance of language knowledge testing and assessment. Testing and assessment is a crucial importance. It matters how language knowledge teaching is linked to student intended learning outcome. And help teacher to collect data about student strengths and weaknesses, thereby renovating teaching method and assessment to improve student language knowledge learning. And especially, it serves as a required evidence adhering to MOET and DOET regulations. And here are some basic concepts of testing and assessment. First of all, a test is a type assessment, an instrument to measure. Measurement here is a quantifying performance by quantitative data or qualitative data. Apart from that, you will have to differentiate between assessment and evaluation. Assessment is the process of collecting, reviewing, using data for purpose of improvement in the current performance. And evaluation is an act of passing judgment on the basic set of the standard. And assessment is the formative, evaluation is summative. Assessment here is process-oriented, and evaluation is the product-oriented. And assessment here is used to identify the area for improvement, and evaluation arrive at the overall grade score or evaluation. And I also want to introduce 4 different types of language knowledge assessment based on summative and formative assessment classifications. First of all, selected response include multiple choice question, true, false, or matching. Constructed response dealing with gap filling, word phrases, sentence completion, word formation, reordering. Performance assessment may have some presentation, project, exhibition, portfolio, learning diary. And informative assessment, informal assessment dealing with the oral questioning, observation, interview, survey, journal, diary, log, self-assessment, and peer assessment. And any difference between formative and summative assessment? For formative assessment, according to class, that is formal and informal process, teacher and student use together evidence for purpose of improving learning. However, summative assessment are assessments that provide evidence of student achievement for purpose of making adjustment about the student competence or program effectiveness. And look at this and you will see there are many different questions that you can use to assess. For formative assessment, you can use quiz, mini test, question, writing assignment, project. And summative assessment, end of the unit test, end of the chapter test, midterm test, and end of term examination. And according to Paul Blake, when the cook takes the ship, that is the formative assessment. When the customer takes the ship, that is the summative assessment. much easier for you to understand and differentiate between two types of assessment. And here are some principles for assessing language learning. Assessment should be seen from a learning center perspective. Assessment should support learning and teaching. Assessment is more than testing. Assessment should be congruent with learning, fit comfortably with learning experience. Student and parent should understand assessment issue. And there are 5 different test types serving different purposes. First of all, that is the placement test. A placement test is the kind of test to place a student in the right class. And then that is the diagnostic test, achievement test, proficiency test, and aptitude test. And the next part, I would like to introduce criteria of a good test. There are 5 different criteria of the good test: reliability, validity, authenticity, interactiveness, and practicality. Reliability is consistent of measures. Is the test reliable? If teacher assess a child at a higher level of attainment than another teachers, and there is a low degree of reliability in the scoring of this assessment test. And we give the student different assessment tasks to assess the same ability. 5 different results are the reliable. This is also a case of low degree of reliability of the score. For validity, the degree to which a test measures what is claimed to be measuring. For example, the aim here is to assess the ability of students to engage into a very simple conversation. The test should be concerned with the concept that are too difficult for the student, should not, like global warming, abortion. And students may be able to ask about their home, about their school, or the things surrounding them. And the next criteria here is authenticity. A test is authentic if it is a real-life task. So, according to your opinion, which of the following assessment tasks have a high or low authenticity, like writing an email to pen pal, play a fun game, listening to a teacher talk on social study? Dealing with writing email to pen pal, that is low authentic for young learner, and some authentic for upper elementary foreign language learner. Playing a fun game is highly authentic for young learner, and listening to the teacher talk on a social study is not authentic for young learner, but very authentic for a university language learner. The first criteria is interactiveness. Does the test involve in any interactions? Teachers the student to sort object into different color without having to say anything or having to say what they are going to do, like what is this, or using not using any language. And is that test interactive? This test does not involve interactions, or in another word, say the test is not interactive. And the last criteria is dealing with practicality. The test is capable of being affected or not, done or put that into practice. A teacher needs to assess his foreign language class of 45 students and 10 minutes individual oral interview or a 2-minute individual talk? Which one is more practical? Personally, the 10-minute interview are impractical in this situation, and it might be practical if some other help you. 2-minute individual talk are practical in the situation. Yes. I would like to move on to part 2, testing and assessment practice at secondary school in Nghe An province. First, I will deal with the new direction of MOET in the language testing and assessment applied in the province. Secondly, I will deal with the reality of testing and assessment at secondary school in Nghe An. For the document of MOET in language and testing and assessment introduced in province, the first, decision number 1400, date September 30, 2008. And the second document, 5333, gives guidance on assessment and evaluation, date September 29, 2014. In the document 1400, Ministry of Education and Training regulate primary school graduate have to obtain level 1 VNFR and level 2 for secondary school student and level 3 for high school student. For secondary school children, they have to study in order to master level 2. It means that they can understand sentence and frequently use expression related to the area of more intermediate relevant. For example, very basic personal and family information, shopping, local geography, employment. And they can communicate in a simple and routine task requiring a simple and direct exchange of information on familiar and routine matter. They can also describe in a simple term aspect of their background, intermediate environment, matter in the area of intermediate need. And here are some self-assessment for level 2. Listening skill. I can understand phrases and highest frequency vocabulary related to the area of the most intermediate personal relevant, very basic personal information about family, shopping, local area, and employment. I can get the main point in short, clear, simple messages and announcement. For reading, I can read very short, simple text. I can find specific, predictable information in a simple, everyday material, such as advertisement, prospectus, menu, and timetable. I can understand short, simple, personal letter. Spoken interactions. I can communicate in a simple and routine task requiring a simple and direct exchange of information on familiar topic and activity. I can handle very short social exchange, even though I can usually understand enough to keep the conversation going myself. Spoken production. I can use a series of phrases and sentences to describe simple terms, family and other people, living condition, my educational background, and my present or most recent job. Writing, I can write short, simple notes and message relating to the matters in the areas of intermediate need. I can write very simple personal letters or even thanking someone for something. And when you deal with the document 5333, that is giving some guidance on assessment and evaluation. The document apply for English program at secondary school in accordance with the decision number 16, 2006, Ministry of Education and Training, date May the 5th, 2006. And pilot program of Project 2008-2020 in line with decision number 1, Ministry of Education and Training, date January 2012, and decision number 5902, Ministry of Education and Training, date October 23rd, 2012, and other programs. The document regulates the format of the test, including listening skill, speaking skill, reading skill, writing skill, and also language knowledge. For speaking skill, teacher can choose one of the following test types, like a question and answer, picture description, storytelling, guided speech, dialogue, situation, or else. And listening skill, in a listening test, must include at least 2 tasks, 8 questions. And the teacher can choose to test the student with the following subjective type, like listen and math, listen and number, listen and tick, listen and complete, or other. In terms of reading skill, reading tests include at least 2 tasks, 8 questions, and can choose read and math, read and number, read and tick, read and complete, read and select the correct option, read and rearrange information, read and find the right information, read and summarize, or other. Writing skill. The writing test includes at least 2 tasks, 5 questions. Student can do the test by choosing, completing the sentence with a word or phrase, arrange the word to make the complete sentence, use the provided word and phrase to write complete sentence transformation, sentence completion, use the provided word or phrase to write a complete paragraph, or use the provided word or phrase to write a short passage, reordering, write short passages about relevant and familiar topics, composition, essay writing, or other. For language knowledge assessment, the test we use to assess the student phonetic phonology, lexicology, grammar, and language use, including at least 2 tasks, 8 questions, like multiple choice question, matching, gap filling, information gap, reordering, word formation, or else. And also, students have to deal with other practical assessment like a project, debate, assignment, diary, studying research, drama, simulation. And the document 5333 also regulates an English test like as following. A 15 minutes test will be carried out twice a semester. A 45 minutes test will be carried out one per semester, including 30 to 50 questions of listening, reading, writing, and language knowledge, and at least 2 tasks per skill. And the test must based on the document 533 to ensure that testing and assessment are ranged from the level 1 to level 4 according to Bloom taxonomy. And speaking skill will be taken place on different day, account for 20 to 30% total test. And here are some reality of testing and assessment at secondary school in Nghe An province. First of all, application of the new direction of the MOET and DOET. Secondly, dealing with the student language ability. And thirdly, teaching material and equipment. Yeah. For the new direction of the Ministry of Education and Training application in secondary school in Nghe An province, as you know that the new direction of MOET and DOET are not properly applied at some secondary school, especially in some mountainous area. And the English test for the secondary school here in Nghe An province focus mainly on reading, writing, grammar, phonetic phonology, and language knowledge. And listening and speaking skill are rarely carried out due to lack of facility and student ability. An overcrowded classroom cause a lot of difficulty for teacher to carry out testing, about 40 to 50 students in one class. And another problem here, there are not enough teachers, English teachers at secondary school, especially for some of the remote area. Some teachers have to take many different class with different level at the same time, so they cannot test the speaking skill for all students at the class in 1 or 2 days. Moreover, English tests do not range from level 1 to level 4. Like Bloom taxonomy, know 30%, comprehend 40%, apply 20%, analyze 10% as direction of MOET. And secondly, I would like to talk about student ability. In Vietnam, you see that students mostly speak Vietnamese in class more than English. And especially in our province, shares the same problem. And also students do not want to do the homework, and sometimes they are very poor, inattentive, and unconfident. And the students seem to be afraid to speak English in class, so teachers have to encourage them a lot by giving bonus or presents. And the third matter I would like to deal with, that is the teaching material and equipment. Teaching material and equipment play a very important role in testing and assessment because shortage of appropriate learning material for English cannot help a student carry out their test properly. And the equipment for learning and assessment, like computer, laboratory, internet, also cause a lot of obstacle for them. And especially they are lack of language learning environment. And I also want to deal with part 3 and some suggested solution. Firstly, apply new direction of MOET to all secondary school in the locality properly. Secondly, facilitate the student studying facility like lab, book, computer, and classroom. And also should provide enough studying material for the student here, can help the teacher to assess the student much more easily. And also encourage students to study harder, so their language will be improved, and the assessment and testing will be covered with 4 main skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, as a direction of Ministry of Education and Training have this issue. And also should create an English speaking environment for all. So that is all I would like to talk about testing and assessment in our province for some secondary school. And thank you very much for your listening. If you have any questions, please ask me. Thank you very much for your attentive listening.